and that white people are the author of all the oppression and suffering in the world. That's the belief. And every single one of these DEI people, that is absolutely what they believe. I'm not simplifying it at all. That is what they believe. And if it's grounded in that, then it's evil. It's wrong.
In this video, Matt Walsh joins Chris Cuomo on his show on News Nation. Matt Walsh and Chris Cuomo discuss DEI and its role in Kamala being Biden's VP. With that, let's watch Matt Walsh make Chris Cuomo very uncomfortable as he exposes the truth about DEI.
All right. Walsh then decides to go undercover. Joins us now. Thank you for taking the opportunity.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Matt, what do you hope to achieve with this film?
Well, this is our exploration of the DEI so-called anti-racist hustle, the scam. And so we want to expose these con artists for what they are, the people that are pushing this stuff. But we want to do it, comedically with humor. We want to do it in an entertaining way, which is why as you covered, I go on my own journey of racial awakening, and I listen to these people. I listen to what they say. I try to put their teachings into practice in the film. I let them guide me down the rabbit hole so that the viewer can see by the end of the film where it leads. And it leads to some pretty wild and demented places, frankly. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but we take the path where they lead us.
So let's figure out for you what the line is, because I'm sure that diversity, equity, inclusion, these are not bad words for you. So what is the line to where you believe those honorable concepts become something different?
When it's all based in left-wing racial ideology, which these days, I mean, sure, there's a way that you could use the word diversity that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Inclusion doesn't necessarily, there are ways you can include people. That's obviously not bad. But when these terms are used and when it's put together, DEI, it always means left-wing racial ideology. What is left-wing racial ideology? Well, to sum it up in the most simple way possible, it's the idea that white people are inherently racist, inherently bad, and that nobody who is not white can be racist. And
if you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
And that white people are the author of all the oppression and suffering in the world. That's the belief. And every single one of these DEI people, that is absolutely what they believe. I'm not simplifying it at all. That is what they believe. And if it's grounded in that, then it's evil. It's wrong.
What conclusion do you draw? And maybe you just told us there in the end of that last sentence, but, build it out, expound a little for us. What is your conclusion about why the people that you encountered do what you call evil?
Because there's a lot of money in it, and we explore that in the film. In fact, we pay these race hustlers, Robin DiAngelo and others, to be in the film. We put their price tag on the screen because it's part of it's part of the scam. So there's money in it. There's also influence. There's power. There's political advantages. Listen, when people are very obsessively focused on race and they're resentful and angry and they feel guilt and suspicion and all that stuff based on race, they're much easier to manipulate. And that's why they do it. That's why these race hustlers do it in the DEI world. That's why Democrat politicians do it. We have the DEI presidential candidate right now in Kamala Harris.
Yeah, isn't that funny about Kamala Harris? When they called her a DEI candidate, the Democrats were just super insulted. And it's like one of those moments where they can't avoid being exposed for what just clowns they are, because they made up DEI. They told all of us how important it was that we have to institute in our workplaces, or we're all racist and blah, 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 blah. Then you call a vice presidential candidate a DEI hire, and they're offended. It's like, wait, I thought DEI was a beautiful thing that everyone needs to embrace. How could you possibly be offended by it? Isn't that a badge of honor? When Chris Cuomo asks, why do these people do it? When it comes to the left wing, at the core of it, their motivation will be money and power. And I feel like those are the foundation of how they make decisions in the Democrat Party. And I was going to add control in there, but no, if those are the two base groups, control contributes to power, and think about it. If you can get people to think an entirely different way, like meritocracy isn't as important as having one of each different racial group represented in a workplace, you can convince them of anything. I mean, you already are making them hyper aware of the words they use and if they could possibly offend anyone. And if it does possibly offend someone, it's the end of the world and you're canceled. So we're talking real control. We've seen it with DEI, we've seen it with ESG scores, and we've seen it with the pandemic. I mean, that was the ultimate test. You know, I'm still very proud to be a pureblood. Anyway, let's get back to it.
And this is what she stands for. She is the kind of mascot for all this stuff.
Well, is she the mascot because she's a black woman? Or do you believe that her politics are using these concepts unfairly? When you say mascot, what do you mean?
Well, it's the policies, but the real reason is that she was put in her position because she's a black woman, and that's not me saying that. I mean, that's Joe Biden said that. Joe Biden said that he was going to, when he was looking for a vice president candidate, he was going to look for a black woman, and he ruled out all other demographics ahead of time and only focused on this demographic. That's DEI. That's what DEI is. That's judging people based on the color of their skin, excluding people.
I believe he only said woman, and he wound up picking a black woman. But he did say he was going to pick a woman, and you can argue that did close off any choice of having a man there, unless it was a man that decided to identify as a woman. But you don't believe that the policy should matter more than the personage of the candidate, right? It's not what she is that is your issue, it's how she is.
Right, that's what we're saying. Those of us who are anti-DEI, our whole point is that what matters is the policies, what matters is the merit of the person. It's when you're in the DEI world, that's where you're dividing people based on race. Okay, you get this because this is your race. You're included because it's your race. No, we don't want you because you're the wrong race. That's the DEI. That's exactly what this film, that's the attitude this film is meant to expose.
And it's funny. I think DEI is slowly going away, not as quickly as I'd like. But when it was in full force, I mean, if you had a brain, you were like, this doesn't make any sense. But I remember there'd always be like some panel showing like a proponent of it. And they would make statements like, there's a study that shows that people are much happier when DEI is in place. And it's like, there's just no way that's true. As a matter of fact, I'm certain it would be the opposite, because think about it. If they've been hammering DEI into your head over and over and over, anyone who gets hired from then on, you're going to look at them like, are they a DEI hire? Even if you're the most altruistic person in the world, you're not a jerk or anything, but it's been hammered into your head so much, it's going to come to mind, right? So then for those people saying to themselves, is that person a DEI hire? It does such an enormous disservice to the person that's just been hired if they've in fact been hired for their hard work and their qualifications and their abilities. Because then, you know, that those kind of rumblings would go around the office, like who's a DEI hire and stuff like that. And that would eventually get back to the person that's hired. And it wouldn't be crazy for them to think, look at other people like, does this person really respect me? Or do they think I'm a DEI hire? You know what I mean? It would, to me, it would just cause resentment and division. But we want to hear from you. What did you guys think about this conversation between Chris Cuomo and Matt Walsh? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.